Hi, it's Diederik Gelderman here, speaker, author of 4 published books, trainer, coach, mentor, founder of Turbocharge Your Practice and Business Productivity Academy. Welcome. Welcome to video number 5 in the war on the ignorance that besets our veterinary industry with respect to understanding their finances. So today we tie everything together. Now in this video we're going to look at the 4 simple steps and strategies that you can use to ensure that you do have enough time to manage looking after your finances and have the time to manage it well. So here's what you're going to learn today. How to understand your practice finances quickly and easily. How to manage your finances in less than 1 hour a month. How to target and to achieve that 20% productivity level that we've been talking about for the last 4 weeks. And how to create a financial system in your practice that you can teach to anybody in your practice and free up your own time to going back and doing what you love, and that's being a veterinarian. Now we're going to achieve those outcomes today by talking about effective delegation, getting automation and integration to work for you, and that's really easy in this modern day and age. Getting a thorough understanding of the basics of the financial system, and also understanding your personal role in that whole box and dice. Now, the headline to this video, as you've just seen, from the subject line on the email is, I don't have enough time. Okay, so why have I used that headline, that heading, that subject line? Well, almost every practice owner that I know tells me that they're overworked, overloaded, overwhelmed, and that managing their practice finances is just like adding another load, another bag of cement on their back, and they just don't have the time to do that, and so they put it aside and put other things in instead as a priority. Now it's really a catch-22 here. If you don't make the time, then you can't manage the finances, which means that you get even further in the hole, which means you have to work even harder, etc., etc. It's a roundabout, it's a treadmill, it's a hamster wheel, if you like. Okay, so that's why I've created this video series, and specifically this 5th video, this last video, this ultra important video, because it's in this particular video training that you're going to learn how to tie everything that we've talked about together and how to manage your practice finances in less than 1 hour a week. So let's talk about the first topic. Number 1, delegation, or let's be more specific, effective delegation. Because I know that you've tried to delegate in the past and it's, backfired on you. The thing that you've delegated hasn't been done properly, hasn't been done at all, hasn't been done to satisfactory levels, etc., etc. By the way, I've attached a worksheet on effective delegation to this video, so please download that. It's called the 9 Steps to Effective Delegation. You use this tool and delegation will be so easy for you. Now you went into practice to be a veterinarian, okay, and to just be a veterinarian, to do clinical work. You didn't go into practice to manage your practice, manage the team, manage the finances, and those things aren't things that you train for. You train to be a vet, and a good vet, and that's what you want to do. Now, most veterinarians tell me that they intensely dislike, I'll even use a stronger word, hate in fact, the side of the practice that looks after the finances, and you really want to get back to being a clinician and treating pets and managing the clients and all those sorts of things. Well, it is really possible when you learn to become an effective delegator. Now, remember this key saying, and this is a wake-up call to me quite a few years ago. You have the most amount of control when you have no control at all. So just think about it. You have the most amount of control when you have no control at all. So when you delegate everything to everyone else and still manage the big picture, the overview, you have the most amount of control even though you're not doing any of the work. Now, and I can speak from experience with respect to the next statement. most of us vets are control freaks, and as I said, I can speak from personal experience. We don't want to let go of stuff because we want to know that they're being done properly and managed properly, and that typically stands in our way as well because it doesn't allow us to get on and do the important stuff. Now, the things that people tell me when I talk at workshops and events and trainings, what you tell me is it's hard to get someone to do it right. It's hard to find the right person to do the job. They don't want to do it the way that you want it done. They're too slow. Hey, it's my baby and I'm responsible. They're all the reasons that I hear again and again and again. Now, I just want to plant one seed here. What's important to you? Is it the outcome? Is it getting from here to there and getting the job done and having an effective, efficient, acceptable outcome? So that's outcome focused. Or in your world, is it the process? Does the person that you delegate to have to follow step by step by step by step the sequence and the process that you use to do it? So are you outcome focused or process focused? Now, I used to be process focused, and people used to have to do things the way that I wanted it done, and that was the only way that was acceptable to me. I managed to turn a switch in my head with my coach who kicked my butt, and turned me now into a process-focused person. So if I delegate someone, I don't care how they get from A to Z, as long as they get from A to Z. I don't need them to follow the same steps and sequences that I do. So just something to think about. Now, all those things that I talked about are training issues. All those steps in the delegation process that you may think, oh, this doesn't work, they're all training issues and they're really easily solved. Now, listen up and we'll share how. Now, just before I talk about specifically how, I just want to add in sort of one more nuance. Now, the idea of life, the idea of work, in my opinion, is to do the work that you love. Do the work that you love and delegate the rest, okay? So you need to find someone that loves to do what you hate to do, okay? So that you only have to do the things that you really love to do. Now, I've got a whole webinar series on how to do this quickly and easily, and we don't have the time to do that here today. So I'm going to keep this part of this video really simple and basic, for the purposes of this training. Now, there's two simple aids that are going to help you immensely here. The first one is bookkeepers, and the first one is automation, which is getting better all the time. Now, a lot of veterinarians that I know have problems delegating, like I said, because they're either process orientated or they're control freaks like I used to be. Now, I'm going to submit my next few statements for something for you to consider if delegation is an issue to you. And I'm sort of going to say this with a bit of tongue in cheek. So let's just dive in for a couple of minutes and please, bear with me. Let me be really blunt. No offence intended, but are you an egotistical, arrogant narcissist? Are you? Because typically someone who can't delegate is an egotistical, arrogant narcissist. Because you are if you can't delegate. Because if you can't delegate, that means that you're saying that there's no one else around that can do things as well as you, up to your standards, do them properly in your veterinary practice, or your organisation or your family. Now, that's the big point. Are you saying nobody knows how to do this like I do? Like, get real? Nobody? Like you're the only person that could ever work out how to do that task and do it properly? Gee, that's just plain egotistical, isn't it? I know you're not like that. So maybe that's another way to look at delegation. Now, and I know you don't want to be like that either. So if there's anyone in your practice that you see that won't delegate, maybe they're a little bit along that mindset as well. Now, I'll talk about Casey. This is a huge epiphany for Casey when she came to one of my workshops a few years ago. She was a mum of 3. She owned a veterinary practice, and she was having a huge issue delegating. She just couldn't delegate, and she had the practice to run and a family to look after and her kids and all that sort of stuff, and she was just stressed to the eyeballs. And when I brought this up at the workshop, she said, "Me? Egotistical? Oh my God, that's a wow of an epiphany. I don't think I'm egotistical or narcissist, but the way you've pointed it out, Dedrick," she says, "I need to think about that and take that on board." Anyway, so that, looking at it from that perspective, made all the difference to Casey. And this was extremely liberating her. When she thought about it like that, it just, blew all the boundaries around this delegation issue that she had. And so I just raised that as something that you might want to think about as well. So let me share another story. This is by a guy called Ken Fisher. And Ken Fisher is a multi-billionaire, and he wrote a book called The 10 Roads to Riches. And so I suggest you read that if you have the opportunity. Now, in this, he says, look, when you first start a business, when you first start your entrepreneurial endeavour, and he's not talking about vet specific here, so I'm going to paraphrase what he's written in his book, but you can read about it in the book. He says, you've got to do everything. When you start your business, when you start your vet practice, you've got to do everything. You've got to do the customer service, you've got to treat the patients, you've got to do the banking, take the mail out, run the reminders, take out the trash, mop the floors, clean the toilets. You've got to do almost everything in your veterinary practice. And he says, but when you start to get a little bit of marketing and a little bit of sales going, and you get a little bit of money in the door, then you get some more clients in the door, and your practice gets a little bit better, a little bit bigger and a little bit better. He says, then it's the right time for you to become a quitter. A quitter. Quit yourself out of as many jobs as you can, as many jobs as possible, as many jobs as it takes to release you up to do more work with clients and patients and sales and marketing. And then you'll get more clients and patients and sales and marketing, and the practice is a little bit bigger and you've got a little bit more money. Then it's time to quit yourself out of some more jobs. So when you follow this process all the way through, eventually you've quit yourself out of all the jobs in the practice except dealing with clients, dealing with patients, and maybe you'd like to keep doing a little bit of, marketing and sales, because that's always a bit of fun. So, when you quit yourself out of all these roles, your name doesn't appear in the organisational charts. Your name doesn't appear in any of the positions description boxes or positions contract boxes, so that all you do then are the few vital functions that are important to running your business. You may be the CEO, you may be the general manager, you may be just the lead vet, but your job as your business gets bigger, as your practice gets busier, is to look around and find great talent that you can onboard into your practice and grow that practice even more quickly. Okay, so you're the visionary leader that onboards people, that looks for great talent, that induces them to come and work with you, and that'll grow the practice even more. So that's the only job, or that plus your clinical role should be the only jobs that you don't quit yourself out of. You should quit yourself out of everything and anything else. So that's Ken Fisher's model of the world, and I like that model a lot myself. So ultimately, what you're looking at doing is finding and hiring people that love to do what you consider work, okay? And who love to play, in inverted commas, with what you think is work. So what I always find really interesting about life is that there are people that love to do everything. And me personally, I hate cleaning, I hate washing cars, that sort of stuff. And I can't imagine how someone would love to clean or someone would love to wash cars. But the fact is, there are people out there that love those sorts of things. And when I was in practice in Green Hills, our nurses hated cleaning, our receptionists hated cleaning. So one day we said, okay, let's hire a cleaner. And we hired this lady, and she came in and she loved cleaning. She thought it made her day to be able to do a good cleaning job, and she was so proud of it. Now, we paid her less than the nurses and the receptionists. That was the award. We weren't trying to scam her, so please, I want to make that perfectly clear. She got a fair wage for what she did, but she loved cleaning. And nurses loved the fact that they didn't have to clean, and so did the receptionists, okay? So there are people out there who love doing what you hate doing, and they find what you hate doing, for them it's play. So your idea is to find people who play at things that you find work. That's what you're looking for. You want to become a passion broker so that you get to look at the big landscape of your practice and how to grow it. Now, as you delegate stuff out, the only thing that you need to do is retain big picture control. You find people who play at what you find work, and then all you need to do is inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect, and that'll help make sure that everything's done the way you want it to be done. Now, another area on this and talking about the delegation role is my previous practice manager. And I just want to frame this up with a headline for you. Everything you do is keeping you from doing what you should be doing. Everything you do is keeping you from doing what you should be doing. So what you should be doing are your few vital functions, your core functions, onboarding new team members and working with clients and patients. So everything else that you do is preventing you from doing those sorts of things and chewing into your family time and your home time and your time off as well. Now, my previous practice manager was a great example of this, like I said a while ago. And I hope she's not watching this, but anyway, she's given me permission to use this story, so that's okay. Now, her problem was she was so capable, so good, so brilliant. She could do everything. And that was the biggest constraint. You know, she was so gifted and talented, she was like, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll just do this. And I'd say to her, but if you do this, it means you can't do that. And that is really important to growing the business. And she says, but I could do this. Yeah, I know you could do it, but it's not something I want you to do because it's constraining you for helping us grow the business. So, you know, I'd be saying, no, that's not the point. I know you can do it, but you've got to stop doing it. You know, find someone, hire someone to get them to do it, and then manage them so that you can control on your, and leave them to it so that you can concentrate on your vital functions that'll help us grow the business, grow the practice. All right? So by hiring someone will extract you out of that day-to-day minutiae, and you can help grow the business because that's your vital function. Took a while to get that message through to her, but eventually she's got it. So I'm hoping that story's of use to you. Now, let me ask you, are you guilty of that? Look, in fact, we're all guilty of that at certain stages, aren't we? We're all guilty of doing the work that's in front of us rather than looking at the position of leadership that we have within us that we should be concentrating on. So what's better for you than just doing a few vital key functions? Nothing really. You know, you should be at work and you should be concentrating on your few vital key functions, whatever they are. Typically, I said it's leadership, onboarding, dealing with clients and patients. And then if there is anything else to do, give it to someone else. Go home, have time with the family, the kids, have time to refocus, re-energize. You know, have time for yourself. I hear this a lot. I hear people say, "Oh, Diederik, I don't have the money to delegate. I'd love to delegate, and I can delegate, but I don't have the money." Okay, can you afford not to? Can you afford not to delegate? I mean, you can bring in $300, $400, $500, $600 an hour. A bookkeeper is going to cost you $35. You know, you spend one extra hour and you've paid for a bookkeeper for 10 weeks. So, you know, or is not hiring someone preventing you from taking time off to spend with the family, you know, your spouse, your children, your friends, or simply from going and sitting and relaxing on a beach or in the forest or taking the dog for a walk and recharging your batteries so that you can come to work, be more present when you're at work and earn more money that way. Your choice. Anyway, on to the second subtopic today, which is automation and integration. Now, there are so many things being released on an almost daily basis now that'll help us to automate our veterinary practice. Most veterinary practice software now will integrate into things like Xero or QuickBooks or MyOb. So find, when you have your practice software integrated with your accounting system, it saves you so much time, and all the stuff that we've talked about for the last 3 or 4 weeks will happen automatically. So look at something like Xero, which is accounting software in which 80%, 80% of all your transactions or entries are automated. You've only got to enter them once, and then the system remembers it for all the next time. And it's so easy to use. It's cloud-based. You can use it from your mobile or cell phone. So look at something like that. If you don't like that sort of stuff, then go to bookkeeping services. $25, $30 an hour to get someone to come in and do your bookwork. They'll come in 1 hour a month and do what it takes you 5 or 6 hours, for example. You can use automatic wages packages. There are so many automatic wages packages now that are anything from where your team members will come in and they'll either swipe, finger swipe, fingerprint, access and log on and log out, and it'll automatically calculate their wages, or they'll have a password that they'll log in, whatever. But those programs will now calculate their wages, their superannuation if you're in a country with superannuation, the tax that you've got to pay for the IRS or the ATO or whatever the tax people are in your country. All that sort of stuff can be totally automated. You don't have to touch it. It's all automated. Okay, so look at that. It's very inexpensive. Now, again, here I often hear people say, I don't have the money. Well, we've been through that before. Now, this is going to save you money, not cost you money. So look at those sorts of things. Third point for today, get a basic understanding of the finances of your practice and the financials of your practice. Now, we've spent 4 weeks talking about this now, so I won't go into any detail because you've got all the material on the previous videos. You need to develop a simple, effective, and manageable system that gives you all the data that you need to run / manage / control your practice, the financial aspects of your practice and its outcomes. Okay, so you need a simple, reliable, efficient, manageable system that gives that all to you and is there in front of you. Now, this data needs to give you robust, solid overview of what you need to correct if there's anything out of whack. And also give you a remedial type plan out of the data that you get. And you follow the stuff we've been through over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you can get all that out of what we've just been through. Now, you need to be able to get all this data, garner all this data, look at it, interpret it and everything else within 1 hour, on a 1 hour period, once a month. Your role, you watching this, your role is to choose the data that you need, to put a system in place that is there, within 7 days at the end of the month, look at it and find out what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, what needs correction, and then take corrective action, early remedial action if you need it. So your role is the big picture role to overview it. Okay. Now the data that you need is a mixture of cash flow data, KPIs, and veterinary productivity data. Okay, they're the 3 key things: cash flow, KPIs, veterinary productivity data. Okay, you get all that in the form that we've talked about, and you're home and hosed. Now, from these training videos, you have the tools to do that. Now, the last thing for today, your role. Your role is to be the practice leader, to be the veterinarian, the visionary leader, and to do what you do best. That's number 1. Your second role is to put in place a simple, robust, and effective system that's going to allow you to access, source that contemporaneous data, and to proactively do the things that we've been talking about, okay, with respect to practice finances and profitability and everything. the third point is your role is to develop a system which ensures that you get all this data within a certain period of time and that you're not doing it, that it's supplied to you, and then to devote 1 hour a month to doing the higher picture stuff, and to quit yourself out of all the other roles that may be taking up your time and occupying your headspace, so that you can free yourself up to do all that. Okay? So imagine having those 3 things in place. Imagine having that all formatted and happening. Wouldn't you sleep better? Wouldn't you be able to relax more when you're at home, or when you're asleep, or when you're on holidays, knowing that within 7 days of the end of last month you had all this data on your desk, you could look at it, you accessed it, you could take remedial action if you needed to, that you knew where your profitability was, that you targeted 20%, that you're on track to achieve it, whatever it happens to be. Wouldn't that give you a really good feeling inside? I know that when I implemented this in my practice, it was such a relief, and I know the one-on-one clients that I work with tell me exactly the same thing, that life is so much better. We've come to the end. Thank you very much for joining me in this 5-part training video series. I've loved doing it for you. It's been really challenging at times, and it's also been really exciting. The emails and the phone calls that I've had from you, thank you so much, telling me that how well the 4 videos up till now have helped implement things in the practice. I really appreciate those phone calls. Please, any comments, any feedback, any questions, anything you've got at all, you've got my email address, you've got my phone number, please contact me, and I'm only too happy to chat. So it's over and out from me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.